Tales for Dark Nights.
Want to make sure you never miss a Chilling Tales for Dark Nights video again? Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to turn on notifications.
Man, I just got this sweet little job over on the north side. It's too cool, man. I'm talking about I sit with this old lady from the evening to the early morning. You know, I don't like to party and all that, so I don't even mind. I get there and, you know, feed her through a little feeding tube and everything. You know, I wash her up, and it really ain't no big deal because I'm used to caring for whole floors of patients. So if I only got one, man, that's all day. I mean, I'll take that all day. But, you know, and now I'm getting paid like double with like 20 times less the responsibility. So I ain't even tripping, man. You know, her family, they never come into the house. They just drop off the groceries and stuff at the door, and they just keep it moving. So, you know, that's cool, whatever. The other nurses, they say the old lady was a real jerk back when she was able to fend for herself. So, you know, now I guess her family just happy with letting her rot away peacefully. So, but, you know, they pay, so it is what it is, man, you know. The old lady ain't really moved too much. All she'd do is a little twitch or something, if anything. She was in some kind of mysterious coma that her doctors couldn't really figure out. And I guess her family didn't really push the issue either. So on this day, you know, it was payday. So I ordered me some wings and some fries, and I'm just sitting back smashing, you feel me? And the old lady, she breathing extra heavy, so I just kind of sat close and just watched TV, you know, just kept an eye on her. You know, the doctor said her health was near perfect, except she in a coma. So, you know, every time I took her vitals and everything came back good. But this lady can't even open her own eyes, man. It's crazy. And I had just finished eating and all when I heard the doorbell ring. It scared me because it's like almost midnight. I'm like, who could be at the door? So I stood up and you know, I got scared all over again after some thunder boomed so loud it shook the whole house. You know, I wanted to ignore the bell, but it rang again. So now I just grabbed my phone with 911 already pre-dialed, waiting for my thumb to hit the send button. And you know, the house, man, even with the lights on, it's creepy, man. She got this dark colored carpet and the dark colored walls in every room. And you know, and the lights is all yellowed and they just be flickering sometimes because they so old. So the whole place just look dark. You know, then she got these paintings on the wall of the most just ugliest, most serious people you could ever see, man. And then she got these statues and art. And, you know, and me and the other nurses, we just call them demonic, man. That's what they look like. I tried to ignore the house and just focus on the door. And I about died when I heard another boom of thunder. And then this person started banging on the door instead of ringing the doorbell. So I finally got to the door and, I just yelled, trying to sound tough. Who is it? Knowing I'm about to dang doo-doo on myself, man, but then of course, nobody says anything. So I peek out the window and I see a van or something. So, I'm thinking, okay, maybe this one of the medical delivery guys. So I start to feel better. So I hollered through the door and, I'm like, why you didn't call first? And I reached for the door handle and unlocked it. But before I could take the chain off the door was rammed from the other side. So I started screaming and, and I'm like, the only thing stopping the door from opening was the chain latch. Then a hand reached through and I just slammed the door on the hand, man, and the hand continues to try to reach into the house. I slammed the door repeatedly until the person finally pulled their hand out. I locked all the locks, and I ran back to the window, and I looked out again and saw the person on the porch just calmly knocking at the door with a black raincoat on, like nothing even happened. Their head covered up by the hood, so I couldn't really see their face. I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman, but they just kept knocking and ringing a bell. So I started looking for my phone, man, and then I realized I dropped it during the scrap. Man, it felt so hard, the screen was cracked. Man, my heart felt like it was just cramping in my chest, man. So I started to look for the house phone. I think I remember seeing one, even though, she never really got no calls. But, so I'm just I turned to leave the door, and then I saw that bolt of lightning, and I knew it. I knew that was the one that was gonna kill the power. That thunder boomed again, and the house slowly went dark. I made my way to the old lady. Her machines needed electricity to run. I used the lightning strikes for light to help me make it through the house. I got to the old lady's room and felt relief when I heard a loud hum and all the lights came back on. But then I heard the doorbell ring again, and I got right back scared. I grabbed my phone and tried to get it to restart, and I just prayed I could get it just to call the police, man. And thank goodness the dang phone came back on and it let me down. So I called, I'm on the phone. I need help, man. I'm on 668 Blair Street. Somebody trying to get into my patient's house, man. You gotta get here fast, bro. And the lady on the phone just kept saying, hello, hello, hello. And I'm like, I know you can hear me, man. Send 12 out here. My mic on my phone must just be broke or something, man. And the banging on the door was more intense now. Homie was really trying to get in here now. Then the lights went out again. I turned my flashlight on and I made my way to the door, and I shined the light through the room, and I nearly dropped the phone. The old lady was sitting up in the bed staring at me. She had the nastiest look ever on her face, man. I ain't never been so scared. Her eyes were straight black, wasn't no white parts. And the wrinkles had her face in just the most scariest look imaginable. So I'm sitting there with the door like half open, just froze. How could she sit up? She been in a coma all this time. Then she called out to me. Nurse, nurse, come to my bedside, nurse. Isn't it time for my dinner? I saw her jerk towards the edge of the bed, and I took off to the back door. I could hear her coming behind me, dragging her equipment with her. And I just ran to that back door and outside into the yard. I ran around to the front to get to my car, and I saw the figure still knocking on the door. I got in my car praying that they wouldn't notice me until it was too late. Just then I saw the front door open and the old lady came out onto the porch and pointed towards me. Man, I was crying. I was crying so hard I barely could even see, but I stomped on the gas and I never looked back. That's been 3 months ago, and I finally got myself back to work. I never reported the incident to the police or anything. I just never want to be anywhere near that house again. I tried to tell the other nurses, but they looked at me like I was on drugs. So I ain't even worried about it no more. My new job was cool. The pay wasn't like the old lady, but I'll take that pay cut any day. I sat at my computer one night at the job, and I just took a second to take it all in. My friend who helped me get the job, they walked by. She come by and she say, "Didn't you used to have a patient down there on Blair? This old lady just checked in from I think it was 668 Blair. I'll send you her file. She's in a coma, so she should be real easy for you to manage, right?"
It was the holiday times, so they had been working us like crazy. I was doing 12, 14 hours a day, getting that check. Boss man said if I got rid of all my packages that day, he was gonna throw me an extra little bonus. I needed that money, boy, so I was hitting it all day. This was a few days before Halloween. I had a good time driving through the city, seeing all the neighborhoods with the decorations and stuff in their yard. A lot of the houses I had to deliver to had 6-foot monsters on their porch. It was creepy going on somebody's porch with this big old mummy monster standing there. One house had a big vampire that jumped when you walked past it. Boy, I cocked back and blasted that thing all the way into the yard. I got quick reflexes. I stopped to get something to eat. And while I was standing in line, I saw a homeless-looking man standing by my truck. I got out and walked up to him. I said, "Is you good, Unc?" He looked up at me and smiled and cut his finger across his neck like he was slitting his throat and made a choking sound. I started to slap them raggedy teeth up out his head, man, but he ran off like a hurt dog. I got up in the truck and started smashing, but I couldn't really stop and enjoy the food because I had to get back on it. I hit this one block in the late afternoon that straight freaked me out. It ain't had no cars parked on the streets or the driveways. I'm like, man, I know ain't nowhere that ain't nobody home on this whole block. I parked at the beginning because I had a delivery at the first house. Shoot, I had a delivery at every house on the block. I got everything ready and opened the sliding door, and I got really freaked out. There were kids of all ages standing on the street, staring at me. All up and down the block, kids was watching me. No blinking, nothing. They stood on the porches and in the yards. I took my phone out and took a video. I felt the most scared I ever felt. I showed it on Facebook Live. All my people was tripping out with me. I had to get these packages out though, so I just manned up and ran to the houses and threw the packages at the kids. They ain't even flinch. I marked them all delivered and got on up out of there, boy. I ain't never seen nothing like that before. Did they plan on doing this? Man, I know they didn't go through all that just for me. I turned around. I had to go back, but I seen the kids were still standing there. I ain't finna mess with them, so let me go ahead and get on up out of here. They was all just staring in my direction like they knew I was coming back. I hate the fall time because it starts to get dark earlier. I was trying to hurry up before it get too dark. All I got on me is my little knife. And I know it's Halloween, so folks might start getting to acting stupid. And I don't want to have to poke nobody, you feel me? The next few houses was normal. You know, just your typical drop-offs. I was back moving and grooving. I was getting it in. I was going so fast, I was back in the van and to the next house before people even got to the door to see who rang the bell. I had one more stop that was a little bit away from the others. I had to jump on the highway real quick to get to it. I'm flying trying to get done, and I come up on the exit ramp, and I see the homeless man from earlier. I couldn't believe it. How did he get here, bro? Ain't no way. I seen him way on the other side of town. Don't no bus run out here or nothing. Why would he even want to come over to the sticks anyway? I don't know. He had a sign in his hands that read something. All I could make out was, God bless. I tried to make the red light, but I got stuck behind some slow-driving old person or something. He saw my truck and walked towards me with a look of fear in his eyes. He started hollering, "Turn back! Go back! Get on away from him!" It really scared me though. My stomach tightened up, and I could feel that feeling like my head was clenching up. I let my window up just as he got to it. He was still screaming. His spit was getting all over the window. He said, "Boy, I say you better go on back and get away from me." I laid on the horn, and the driver in front of me started to pull up to give me space. And I went by while the homeless man banged on the van. I ran the red light, and man, I felt so relieved when I got up out of there. The address of the last stop was 1820 Sleepy Hollow Lane. These country parts had some real nice names, I was thinking to myself. I was looking for the mailbox, but I couldn't find it. I did find the gravel path, though. It was overgrown and just wide enough to get the van through. I had to get that bonus. I needed that money, so I went on and called the customer. His name was I Crane. That's a pretty cool name. I got an answer on the phone pretty quick. You have something for me, my son. I'm at the top of the driveway. You will see me standing there with a lantern. After that, he hung up. I was happy he was going to meet me. I took my time through the driveway. It had to be a half-mile long. Then I saw a fork in the road with a sign pointing to the left. I went on and turned to the left and headed down about another half-mile. I saw a dark barn, and I was thinking this can't be his house. It was tore up, and junk was everywhere. I didn't see a man, but I saw a pumpkin sitting in front of the barn. Man, this is stupid, I was thinking. So I called the customer. He said, "Where are you? Did you follow the sign to the right?" I said, "No." I told him the sign was pointing to the left. He said, No, he must have flipped the sign. Just leave." I said, "Man, what you talking about, leave?" He came back and said, "Just turn around and leave, and don't stop." I turned the van back on and started looking around, but I didn't really have room to turn around. Then I saw something I can never forget. I heard a horse just galloping into earshot. The horse was huge and all black, and it came to the front of the barn, and a man came out. All I could see was his outline a little bit. He walked to the jack-o'-lantern and picked it up and got on the horse. The horse hollered and leaned back and headed towards me. I was trying my best to back up out of there, and I turned my headlights toward the man. My stomach was nearly twisted into a knot, but my heart started to ache when I saw he didn't have a head. I could see his shoulders go up and down like he was laughing. He put the pumpkin in place of his head, and he reached down and grabbed an axe and started waving it through the air. I was backing up so fast, just praying I didn't hit anything, and all while the horseman patiently followed me. I finally found space to turn the van around and floored it, but flooring it got me stuck in the mud. I stopped for a second when I realized I didn't hit a horse anymore. All of a sudden, the glass of the windows busted, and he reached in to grab me. I wrestled with him, but he was crazy strong. I put the van in reverse and backed up a little bit. I got some traction, and I put it in gear and got back on the driveway. He was clawing at my neck while I was still driving. I got close to the edge of the driveway and smashed him against a tree. I couldn't see exactly what I did to him, but I kept it moving. I finally escaped the long driveway, and I hauled Buck down to the street. I finally started to feel a little relief when I heard the horse galloping fast. I was doing about 60 or 70 miles an hour, and it was still keeping up. I saw him cock back his axe, and he swung it and busted my tire. I lost control for a second, but I was able to straighten up. I tried to ram into him, but he reacted so quick, he got out the way. I could smell the burning rubber from my tire, and the rim was making horrible noises, scraping against the ground. It was so dark, I didn't see the tight curve coming up, and I lost control and ended up in a big yard. The van was over with, so I jumped out and took off running. I saw a building, so I went to it to see if I could find somewhere to hide. I found a good little spot that let me hide and see the whole area. I saw the horse galloping in the distance. He started to come into the parking lot of the building, but then he stopped. He went back and forth, side to side, like it was an invisible force field or something blocking his way to me. He knew where I was hiding, because I could see the jack-o'-lantern looking right at me. He cocked that axe back again and slung it in my direction. I barely got out the way and I ran to a safer place. He still wouldn't come any closer to the building. I turned around and looked at the building, and on top it was a red sign that read, Sleepy Hollow Church of Christ. I felt a little relief, and I pulled out my phone and called the police. The horseman reared his horse back, the horse hollered, and he galloped into the darkness. This is Dustyn Baker, brother of Wesley Baker, the creator of the Hood Horror series. Thank you so much for listening. As a patron of Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, you can get these stories and hundreds of others dating back to 2012, all of them ad-free and available for downloading and streaming on all your favorite devices. Not only that, but you will get extended editions of our podcast. Just visit chillingtalesfordarknights.com/join to choose the membership of your choice and start enjoying more horror than you can handle right now. As our way of saying thanks for watching this video today, use promo code HOOD7. That's HOOD7. All caps HOOD 7 at checkout to get a 100% free 7-day trial of any monthly membership and see for yourself what you've been missing. Thanks so much for your support. Now, double check your doors and windows. Turn the lights down real low and snuggle up. Your next taste of horror begins now.
I love creepypasta. I listen to stories all day, all night. You know, I go to sleep listening to stories. I be hoping for a nightmare. And I listen to all the channels, man. I'm even into that, like that top 10 scary or whatever videos. I love it all. The only thing is, every time I try to talk to a female, I would just literally scare them away. And talking about it never failed. Everything be going good until they see I'm on Instagram following Chilling Tales for Dark Nights and hood horror and stuff like that. And they start questioning me. Then we be riding in the car and I'm playing the Halloween soundtrack or something. And she trying to play some R&B or pop or something. And after a while, she see that we really ain't got nothing in common. One chick went to the movies with me around when The Nun was out, and we was having a good time. But she got mad because she wanted to cuddle and stuff like that, but I was trying to see the movie. She said she was going to the bathroom, and I ain't even noticed she never came back until the credits. She called me lame and a nerd and everything, but hey, I enjoyed myself. The last girl I dated, we went to a haunted house, and she was freaked out so bad she ran out. You know, and I had begged her to come, telling her it wouldn't really be that bad. And, you know, not because so much of the house is what really freaked her out. It was more so the fact that I was just laughing when this woman's head had exploded all over us. I laughed so hard, I really didn't realize how freaked out she was until she texted me later saying, "I hate you." So, it's been a lonely road. But one day I was just scrolling through my gram and I seen a DM from a profile with like thousands of followers, but they wasn't following nobody. They ain't had no pictures or nothing, man, not even a profile picture. They asked me, did I scare easily? The average person would have hesitated, but, you know, I jumped right to a reply. I replied, heck no, don't nothing scare me. A whole day went by before I got a reply. The reply was just a flyer giving me an address to come to a party on a Saturday night. It said to wear a costume. I'm off on Saturdays, so shoot, that's cool, man. I did cosplay, so I had all kind of costumes. I didn't know who I really, should be. I had everything from Slender Man to aliens. I decided to go with the aliens since I'm always the odd one out anyway. I slept all night listening to my favorite channels on YouTube, but my mind wasn't really paying attention. I kept thinking about this party. I wondered could I bring someone with me, but then I realized I ain't had no friends to bring anyway. So I guess I'd just be sliding through by myself. I think I'm gonna be an alien demon at the party. That costume right there should really impress these folks. I was a traditional gray alien with devil horns and a pitchfork that shot lasers. I rigged some laser pointers on the end, man. It was so dope. I slept peacefully once I got my costume figured out in my mind. All that Saturday, I was nervous. I felt like a kid on the first day of school. Seemed like time was going by in slow-mo. Played some Xbox, I watched some Netflix, all that, but it was still only the afternoon time. The party invite was for 7, but I think maybe I could leave early and, hang out somewhere or something. Then I realized I'd be dressed like an alien demon and it probably wouldn't be best for me to just chill at the house. I went on and took a nap. I dreamed about the party, man. There was this female there who just glided into the room in a mist, and everybody watched her. She was dressed in a long black robe. She raised her hands into the air and snapped her fingers, and everyone there floated into the air. Everybody except me, that is. She floated towards me and touched my chest. And I looked down and saw my heart beating through my chest. She rubbed it, just rubbed my heart slowly before digging into my chest and pulling it out and letting blood rain all over her. Man, I woke up right then just actually scared. This don't never happen. I never get scared. But before I could figure out what the dream meant, my alarm went off and I had to get ready for the party. On the ride there, I tried to remember the dream, but I really couldn't. I remember blood and a woman, but not much else. It seemed like it was, a long time ago when I had it. I got there 15 minutes early, and I got super nervous, man. I started thinking about my safety. This was so jacked up because I usually search for something to scare me. But this time, it was an apartment building about 15 stories high. I got my courage up and walked into the lobby. A person with a hoodie on stood behind the desk. Their head was down so I couldn't see their face. They kept looking down but said to me, 13th floor. I just said okay and went to the elevator. Once I got inside, I realized there wasn't a 13th floor. It went from 12 to 14. I got out the elevator to go tell the desk guy, but he was gone. His hoodie was draped across his chair, but I didn't see him anywhere. I wanted to look around, but I didn't want to be late, so I went back to the elevator, and I just thought about, dang, what should I do? Eventually, it hit me to press 12 and 14 at the same time. doors closed and I was lifted on up. My heart was beating so hard, I put my hand over it and it instantly reminded me of my dream. Man, I got scared all over again, man. I was so scared, you know. I tried to hit, another button on the elevator to get it to stop, but it wasn't. So now I'm just terrified, man. The light on the elevator went out at floor 12, but it kept going up. One of the floors lit up on a panel, so I lost the only light I had. The light elevator music that was playing turned into some really weird music. Lights came on in a dark blue color, and the door opened to a hallway that was decorated with a mirror of young people and popular monsters like Dracula and Frankenstein. At the end of a hall stood a woman at some double doors. She was about 6'6". She was muscular, like a bodybuilder size. I started walking towards her because the doors to the elevator wouldn't close or nothing, but I froze up about halfway to her. She just stared at me the entire time. I walked real, just almost like I was stumbling, man. And I waved, and I was like, man, is it even real, man? And man, she scared me so bad I almost fell over my own feet when she finally waved at me. She opened the door and smoke came through. The aroma of it carried me into the room, and before I realized, the door slammed shut behind me. I was scared, but the smell just kind of kept me cool. Before I knew it, I was standing in a circle. While standing there, a group of women walked towards me. They was dressed in white robes, and they started to sing this ghostly song and circle me. Their song got more and more intense while they took just these tiny little baby steps towards me. They reached their hands out at me. I panicked, but I ain't had nowhere to go. I grabbed my pitchfork and I just started swinging it. Then this bright flash went off, and a woman covered in black from head to toe appeared. She used her hands to just beat blood from the women, man. She broke their arms and legs and necks with ease, man. After all the carnage, she stood next to me. She removed her hood and she was beautiful. She removed her robe and I saw she was fine from head to toe, man. She wiped the blood from her face and licked her fingers, then reached out to touch me. Shivers ran down my whole body. I was in love. All of a sudden, dance music blasted on, and the women she killed got up and started dancing. I looked towards my heroine and she was gone. Nothing there but her robe. The women in white came and danced with me, grinding against me, and I started to dance with them. And people were coming out of nowhere, man, just all dressed in costumes and dancing. The lights went dark and the spotlight came on over my fake savior. She could really dance, man. Like, she spun around so elegant, she hypnotized me into dancing with her. I couldn't dance to save my life, but I was getting it in. The people at the party all made me feel welcome, and we talked about horror stuff until the sun came up. You know, my savior wouldn't really say much to me. She just smiled and laughed with a shy look on her face at everything I said to her. I finally asked her for, her number and stuff on the way out, and she gave it to me. I'm in there, Her name is Rihanna. Man, that's a sexy name. Before I knew it, man, we was living together. We went on a few dates, and she told me she was in love, and she was in love with me, I should say. And I wanted her too. So, then she came and said she wanted me to be her husband. And I wasn't ready for marriage yet, but man, I think I'm gonna get there. It shocked me, and I couldn't say no. She was my dream woman. A fantasy come true, man. I was so in love with her. I let her move right in just because she told me she ain't like the people she stayed with. And it started out good. I'm talking about she cooked, she cleaned. She even had a little part-time job. We never argued or anything. One night we watched some terrible horror movies on Netflix, and we went to bed. Everything was cool, but it was just this loud thud, man. It woke me up. And Riri, she was sleeping. So I said, babe, you heard that? And she just groaned and went back to sleep. So I got my bag and I went to the living room, but I ain't see nobody. I searched the whole house, but I ain't see nothing. I went back to the bedroom, and Riri was standing in the corner of the room facing the wall. Man, I froze when I saw her. And I called her name a few times before she finally, started to move a little bit. And I walked up to her and I realized she was asleep. I guided her to the bed and laid her down. The next day, she ain't had no idea what I was talking about. And she assumed I was just playing a joke or something, or I just had a bad dream. When I got home from work, I saw an old woman leaving the house. She smiled a toothless grin at me and got in the old beat-up Buick and slowly pulled away. She left a paper bag on the porch full of old flowers. They smelled sweet and sour at the same time. Riri opened the door and snatched them from me and ran to the kitchen. I followed her and watched her mix them with some other stuff from the cabinets. I watched for about 2 or 3 minutes before I finally said something. Hey, what you doing with that stuff? And who is that old lady? She said, don't worry, boo-boo. I'm making you some chicken wings with my secret spices, Big Zaddy. She kissed me and shooed me out the kitchen. That dinner she made was the best food I ever had. I'm talking about she put her foot all up in them wings. I ain't even look up while I ate them. I'm talking about, I said, Riri, the wings straight bustin', baby. She just smiled and she gave me something to drink. And stuff got weird. My memory black out a little bit on this, but I remember waking up in the living room. Front door was wide open. Fall leaves was blowing into the house and everything. It was one of them days you could just hear the wind howling, man. All the lights was off. Only light came from the street light outside. I got up, scrambled to the door, and I shut it. And I looked outside and saw Riri walking out into the darkness. I walked to her slowly. She was sleepwalking or something. Her eyes were wide open and her nostrils were flaring, and her jaw just hung like it was off its hinge. She wouldn't snap out of it until I grabbed her and dragged her inside. Girl, we ain't eating no more of your chicken after this. She swore up and down she ain't know what happened. I just left it alone after a few days, but things just kept getting weirder and weirder. She cleaned the house one day with a straw broom. You know, the handle and everything was like she took a bunch of sticks and just tied them all together and made a broom out of it. I'm like, why would you use that instead of a vacuum? But she just insisted on using it. Then she sat the broom on the front porch and came to chill with me. Riri, you weird, baby. She just laughed like she'd do, just laugh at everything, and cuddled up with me. We fell asleep on the couch. I remember the TV being on, but I kept hearing a strange voice. It was almost like a chant. I woke up and the screen on the TV was flipped upside down. And I used the remote to see if it was the show that we was watching, but every channel was the same. I threw the remote down and the channels just started changing like crazy. The TV finally stopped on the ugly old lady. She stared at the screen and she started to talk, man. She was looking like right at me, man. She said, "I'm in your house. I'm in your house. I'm right behind you." I turned around super fast, but I ain't see nobody. The house was dark and the light switches weren't working. I couldn't even turn the lights on. I walked back and forth through the house trying to find my phone or get a light to work. And an old lady on the TV just watched me walk from room to room. Her eyes watched me, followed me the whole time. "I'm in your house, my child. I'm in your..." Shut up, you old raggedy trick. I hear you. The chant I heard from earlier came back. It got louder and louder in the house. I could hear it came from outside. It got so cold in the house all of a sudden. And I heard footsteps upstairs. Slow, heavy footsteps. I heard them walk towards the top of the stairs and stop. But I didn't see anybody there. And then all of a sudden, the footsteps started running down the steps. Man, I ran to the kitchen because I heard them getting closer to me, and I tried to get out the door, but I saw a group of somethings outside the door. The footsteps followed me from room to room, man. Oh, I'm finna die. Oh, I know I'm finna die, man. I was just running, trying to put some chairs in the way, and it was knocking the chairs out of the way. It was throwing stuff at me, everything. So I finally opened the window and jumped out. The people in my front yard all started walking towards me. And I ran to the street light and turned around, and I ain't see nobody behind me. But I heard the chant again. It was coming from inside the house. It sounded like Riri. "I gotta go get my baby, man, and snap her out of it." It took all the courage I had, but I ran up to that house, man. I went up to the bedroom, and I could hear her. I saw her sitting with her back to me, crying and chanting at the same time. I got close to her, and she sprang up and jumped onto me and dug her fingernails into my back and used her legs to wrap my arms up. We fell back onto the bed, and she vomited all over me. I'm talking about black, nasty, stinking vomit just all over me, man. I was drowning in her throw up. My brain burned and my lungs filled with the black, nasty vomit. Right before I died, I woke up. The sun was shining in my face and birds were singing. I'm talking about, it was a beautiful morning. What in the world happened, man? That couldn't have been a dream. No way. I ain't never had no dream like that. I know it was real. How did I get upstairs and in the bed, man? I know she ain't carried me up here. heck, man? Man, I gotta get this girl up out of here, man. I ain't never been so scared of the spooky stuff, and now I'm scared to even think about a pasta. Man, she gotta pack her stuff today and get up out of here, man. This don't make no sense. I got out of bed and I called Riri, and I heard some coughing and gagging and choking and stuff coming from the bathroom. So I ran in. Riri was over the toilet just throwing up. So I'm like, girl, you okay? I ain't, baby. I think I just dreamed about you throwing up. She said, I got something to tell you, boo-boo. She showed me a positive pregnancy test. My big zaddy finna be a daddy. Gots to be more careful. I used to work in a warehouse over in the industrial part of town. Wasn't too much else out there, just trucks and more factories. The place I worked for wasn't really too busy. You know, in the morning, the technicians would come and get supplies, and until they brought the trucks back, I would be there by myself, just chilling, watching YouTube or something on my phone. All the trucks had just left, so I got ready to get in my usual routine of checking out ESPN. I didn't get to watch the big game last night because me and my boo went out to this place that got these big old burritos, right? I ate mine, and I ate the rest of hers. You know, it was all good until my stomach just started twisting and turning like a tornado was going on in there. Then I got that chill that run down your body, and I knew what time it was. Man, I ran to the bathroom. It all came down on me out of nowhere. I bust the door open, and I stopped when I seen somebody clogged up the toilet. Man, I couldn't find the plunger nowhere. Some no-good joker brought they stanky butt in here and messed up this toilet and ain't gonna even say nothing. I flushed the toilet and water came up and started running over. I ain't had time to mess around no longer, so I ran deeper into the warehouse to the bathroom. This one was down by the furnace and water heaters and all that. It was always pretty dark since no one ever came over here much. I flying kicked the door open and slammed the toilet lid up. It was a real photo finish. I was getting down so bad, I had to take my shirt off up in there. I was sweating and everything, but boy, it felt good. While I'm in there, my lady called me and we was talking on the phone. Everything just chilling, but the connection was it just got real bad all of a sudden. I tried to call back, but I couldn't get no signal. After the worst part of the storm had passed, I thought I heard a knock on the restroom door. Or I heard it creak or something, I'm like. So I froze, and it felt like my stomach dropped right into the toilet. After a while, I got back to watching my phone, and then I know for sure I heard the door creak open. And I even heard footsteps into the bathroom. So I'm thinking, one of the techs must have came back because he forgot something or, something like that. First thing came to my head. So I started to relax. And then they knocked on the door, right on the stall. So I paused, but I managed to just squeak out, I'm in here. I heard the person turn and walk away. Then they stopped, turned back around, and knocked on the stall again. I tried to snap out of my fear and just finish up real quick, but now they banged on the door. I finally got the courage to say, man, y'all better stop playing. The knocking stopped and I stood up. As I got up, I got a glimpse of who was knocking through the little opening in the door. They were short and had on an old dirty coat. That's all I could see. So I could tell it wasn't one of the techs. Man, I got my phone out and I called the police. I'm on the phone with 12, man. You better get out of here. I could hear him rubbing against the door. My phone still wasn't getting no signal, so I'm just bluffing them. I could hear them rubbing against the door, and then they started sliding towards the floor, leaning right up on the door. So now I try to fake them out on the phone. Man, somebody trespassing at the telecom warehouse. Man, please get somebody out here ASAP. My phone's still acting up. I tried to call back, but I just could not get through. Then the person said something to me. It's a long dog walk back to the front of the warehouse. Then they stuck their head under the stall door so I could see their face. Their skin was a dark grayish type color. The eyes was red and they bulged out of his head. His nose and ears were just holes in his head, and the mouth was just like a lipless smile. Just a little line in his face. He backed up and left out of the restroom. I tried the phone again and it still didn't work. I'm gonna have to make a run for it, man. I'm gonna have to oh my God, I'm gonna have to just try to run up out of here, man. So, I grabbed the plunger. It was the only thing around I could use as a weapon. I prayed, Lord be with me, and I knocked that stall door open. The creature was staring right at me through the crack in the bathroom door. It made some kind of crazy sound and backed away again, closing the door. The sound faded away, maybe it was gone. Lord, please be with me, Lord. I bust through the door and ran through the darkness. I could hear that strange sound again. I turned and the creature was right behind me, reaching out in full sprint. I was running so fast I could feel my ears pressing back in the wind. I could hear the Stephen A. Smith show on the TV now, but I could also hear some police sirens. The noise from the creature started hurting my ears though now. I couldn't resist, man. I had to cover my ears, and that slowed me down just enough for him to grab me. It was too strong. It held me down and got on top of me on the ground. Its tongue stretched out. It just came out like a long tentacle or something, and it went up my nose, man, way up my nose. The creature said to me, "Your brain tastes good." I could feel my eyes just rolling into the back of my head, man. It felt like it was sucking the juice out of my brain. It whispered to me, "I love you. Will you be mine?" I'm not sure how long I was getting my dang brain licked, but I could hear gunshots and felt the ultimate relief once the creature left me. The police helped me up, but even they was too afraid to go after it into the dark parts of the warehouse. They started questioning me like I knew what was going on, man. I told them, man, I just got my dang brain caressed by that thing. I don't know what's going on. Needless to say, I quit that job. And I quit eating burritos on work nights. But there's still some nights where I hear that noise again. And then I can't remember anything. I think the creature visited me at home. Fred started doing construction as a teenager. He started out working with his uncles all over the city. Through years of word of mouth, his business actually grew enough to keep him pretty busy and get him a decent little Cadillac to ride in. Everybody wanted Fred to do some work for him. Bathrooms, kitchens, basements, really didn't matter. Fred would do the job better than anybody around. He always looked at himself as a perfectionist, making sure every swing of his hammer was precise and every cut of his saw was smooth. One day he was offered a job working for a major construction company as a supervisor. Everybody was happy that he would finally get a job he could retire from. He could finally get a chance to show the world how great his skills were. Since he didn't go to school or nothing and didn't have a bunch of certifications, the workers in management looked down on Fred. He would have to go through a bunch of hoops just to get any of his ideas in the plans, and he would have to cuss the workers out just to get them to follow orders and get back from lunch on time. Fred started to grow tired of the company, but he didn't want to let the hood down. He decided he would work twice as hard now. He started being more hands-on, and one day he showed up one of the top carpenters in front of all the young guys. Fred wasn't trying to be a jerk, but he just wanted the job done right, but the guy refused to listen to him. So the good old boy Fred showed up already hated Fred for having a position in the first place. And now, he wanted Fred dead. He fantasized about hurting him. And as Fred finally started to gain the respect of management and his team, he planned on how he could bring Fred down. The company landed his biggest contract ever, and they put Fred in charge. Man, he got right to it, writing out plans and giving orders. The good old boy waited for a chance to sabotage Fred's plans. He went into the computer and changed the measurements of the materials Fred had to order. You might not know, but in the construction field, measurements are everything. Everything has to be perfect, or else you're gonna lose thousands, and in the case of this job, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And of course, Fred was fired. His boss cussed him out so bad the whole office shook. Fred tried to plead his case, but boss man wasn't hearing it. On his way out the office, he saw the workers standing by their trucks laughing it up. Fred walked up to the good old boy, accusing him of changing the measurements. Everybody broke them up, and when they finally started to settle down, the old boy spat in Fred's face. Fred went clean off and grabbed the 2x4 and started whooping everybody. The police were called, and long story short, Fred got a few years to think about what he had done. The hood's heart was broken. Everybody knew they did the brother wrong, but they painted him out to look like a crazy man hell-bent on revenge. In prison, he kept to himself, fixing things around the cell block and in the yard. Nobody messed with him because everybody needed him for something from time to time. The guards would even let him keep a few tools on him. One day he received a card in the mail from an anonymous person, and it read, "Too bad you can't build a ladder to climb out of that hellhole you in, boy." Fred instantly started screaming in anger. He tried to make the best of his situation and leave it behind him, but Fred losing everything still wasn't enough. This was the last straw, and Fred just snapped. I don't know who they think they messing with. I don't play that. I got something for you though, boy, don't worry about it. That night, Fred used his tools to break out of his cell. His knowledge in construction helped him escape through the ventilation system. He made it to the roof and down to the yard where he used his tools to get through the gate and back on the streets. Fred picked up a few skills in the street. He broke into a car and hotwired it and made his way to the city. He siphoned some gas from a car and made his way to Home Depot. He broke in and stole a few bags of his favorite tools, went to Lake Street and got him a Polish and fries, and now he waited for the morning. He watched the workers get to their trucks, and he waited for old boy. When he finally saw him, walking up to his truck smoking a cigarette and drinking some coffee, he could feel his heart speed up, and he could feel his brain straining. He followed him to the job site. The old man was on his Bluetooth headset talking away, so he had no clue he was being followed. Once he got to the site, he stayed behind while everybody else started to get to work. After listening to the favorite part of his favorite radio show, he went into the building. The lighting in the building hadn't been fully restored yet, so they relied on mostly the sun, and temporary lighting ran by extension cords. Fred followed them deep into the building, pretty far from the other workers. He watched while his soon-to-be victim set up his work area. It was pretty dark, so he set up a light and pointed it in the direction he was working. Once he was settled, he was interrupted by a loud bang. He got back to working, but a second louder bang stopped him completely this time. I told them to let me finish down here before they start messing around. Y'all get back up them stairs and let me finish, and y'all finish on up there. He didn't get a reply from a voice, but another bang. This time he stood up and looked around. Y'all better get to work. Stop kidding around. Then his light went out. He scrambled to the cord and traced it. He could see it been cut. He ran to his tool bag, but he slipped. As he stood up, his hand was smashed by a hammer. Fred stood over him with his hammer raised above his head. The good old boy's face was twisted with fear. While Fred said to him, "You just couldn't leave me alone, could you? Just had to hate on me, didn't you? I'm just trying to make a little money, earn a little honest day's pay, but you just had to mess with me, right? I'm gonna build that ladder you wrote about. Maybe you could use it to climb out your own grave." Fred swung his hammer again. Unc always told Fred to clean up after you work, so he took his time to clean up the mess he made. He saw his victim's phone and picked it up to call the boss man. "Good morning, how's the job coming?" "We had a major accident out here. I need you to send OSHA." Who is this?" "If you don't know, you're gonna know real soon." "Is this Fred? You fired me, and you know I was set up. I ain't never messed up like that. I produce better than anybody that ever worked for you, but you dogged me out and fired me?" Fred, I'm sorry, sir. I had to. I almost lost the contract. How are you on Mr. Taylor's phone anyway? You know, how many nights do you think you can go without sleep? Because as soon as you close your eyes...
Man, thank you for listening. This is author and voice actor Dustyn Baker, brother of Wesley Baker, the creator of the Hood Horror series, and I'm glad you could join us. If you enjoyed what you heard, please show your support by hitting the thumbs up icon and click the subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell notification icon too, to make sure you never miss a new release from Chillin' Tales for Dark Nights. Want more horror than you can handle? Sign up as a patron today at chillintalesfordarknights.com/join and get instant access to hundreds of extended podcast episodes and our audio archive going back to 2012. All of it ad-free and available for download. To reward you in your bravery for finishing this collection of frightening tales, we'd like to sweeten the deal. Use promo code HOOD30. That's HOOD in all caps, HOOD at checkout to get your first month of any monthly membership absolutely free. And finally, check the video description below for links to more frightening fiction, including simplyscarypodcast.com, where you will find new episodes available each and every week. Thank you again for your support. Until next time, turn off the lights and turn on the dark.
Chilling tales for dark nights.